You're watching the Cowboys Report. It's Overreaction Monday, but also kind of Meltdown Monday after the Cowboys once again got taken back to the woodshed by Aaron Rodgers. For the first time in franchise history, they were 195-0 entering. They blew a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. So we got some overreactions today on Mike McCarthy, Tony Pollard, Dak Prescott, Odell Beckham mixed in here, and the defense as well. Both the run defense and the cornerbacks. We're going to begin with Mike McCarthy and whether or not the Cowboys should fire him as their head coach. You can't do it right now. It doesn't make any sense. That's an overreaction at this point. Dumping McCarthy when you're 6-3 in the playoff race isn't something you're going to do. But despite the where you currently sit, this is the type of game that makes you go, yeah, you're in the playoff mix. Yeah, you're 6-3. Yeah, you should absolutely make the postseason this year. And that's why you're not going to fire Mike McCarthy right now, because you are the 6th seed right now. I saw some people claiming, hey, the Cowboys got to win out or something to make the postseason. Assuming the Commanders lose against the Eagles tonight, which for the record I'm cheering for Washington because Philly, you don't want to get some ground on them if you can. You're going to have a 2.5 game lead over everyone else in the wild card race. You should feel safe about that. You're not going to fire Mike McCarthy right now. But that game and the way it started and the way it ended is a very troubling outcome because it's the stuff we've seen before with Mike McCarthy and this Cowboys-led team. All of the issues we saw last year, specifically in the playoff game, and that game felt to me like one of the Cowboys' playoff games in recent memory. There were a lot of penalties, some critical ones. That McGovern one killed you. You came out sluggish. I didn't like your game plan on offense. Your quarterback didn't play that great, but he wasn't even the biggest reason why you lost that football game. More on that in a little bit because your defense was a problem. I mean, you lost that game. The one play I would go back and change, 4th and 7. In the fourth quarter, it's a Packers touchdown. You get a stop there, you win that football game. You win if you get that stop there. They didn't. And it's a big part of why they blew that game in the end. Didn't think they were well coached, well prepared, and that's a problem. Again, you come off the bye, and the Cowboys come off flat. So do you trust Mike McCarthy as the Dallas Cowboys head coach? Y for yes, N for no. This is the pinned comment on today's show. If an ad break happens to come here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there, Y for yes or N for no. Let's talk Tony Pollard versus Ezekiel Elliott. This is the correct take. The Cowboys, after last game, were like, Tony Pollard can't handle that amount of snaps. He'll fall off. He gets tired. He can't handle it. Not what we saw at all against the Green Bay Packers. Tony Pollard out there for 72 snaps. That is a massive workload figure for Tony Pollard. And he has been awesome the last 2 weeks. 103 snaps in that time frame, 36 carries, 6.8 yards per carry, and 4 touchdowns. Guys, that is all pro production, even though it would probably regress the mean there a little bit. But 72 snaps for Pollard, double what the Cowboys he can't handle much more than that, had said. He handled it. He didn't look very tired to me. I mean, I've seen Zeke tap his head out and tap out after a 5-yard run, which is fine. It's running back. You want to have Zeke still involved there. I'm not saying bench Zeke altogether, but when it comes to who should be RB1, play the better one. That's Tony Pollard. Better runner, better pass catcher. Yeah, Zeke's got him beat in pass protection, but if we're letting the 10% of what Elliott does better than Pollard make the decision, that just makes no sense at all. So pick a back for me. 21 for Ezekiel Elliott or 20 for Tony Pollard. Sound off for me in the comments. For me, it's clear. Pollard must be RB1 or RB1A if we want to do the rotation, which I'm fine with, by the way. And also, to be clear, this is not me being anti-Zeke. This is me being pro-Cowboys. I want to play the guy who gives me a better chance to win football games. And unequivocally right now, that is Tony Pollard. He needs to be your lead back moving forward, and then we'll figure things out in the offseason in terms of what both players' futures are. Today's Cowboys Report is sponsored by Established Titles. They are a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It's based on the historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. Title packs give at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. They plant a tree with every order and work with global charities One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. You can officially include the title Lord or Lady on your credit card, plane tickets, dating profiles, etc. Makes a great last-minute gift. The first 200 people who purchase a title pack using our link will effectively be next to my plot within a few minutes of walking distance. Depending on how many of you want to become a lord or a lady, we can build our own little Cowboys Report kingdom. It makes an amazing last-minute gift. And Establishment is actually running a massive early Black Friday sale right now with discounts up to 80% off. Plus, if you use the code CHAT, C-H-A-T, you get an additional 10% off. Go to establishedtitles.com/chat to get your gifts now and support the channel. Here's my plaque, so I am now Lord Tom Downey. And it's Squire Chugs or Jester Jeremy or whatever you want to call him out there. Check the comments section and the description. The link is in there, establishedtitles.com/chat. Next up, well, the Cowboys should go back to Cooper Rush, which I know Jeremy wants. And I know some of it's like not serious stuff, and I'll be nice in the mailbag as promised since we're all in shambles over the loss. If you honestly believe the Cowboys are better off starting Cooper Rush, you need to find Jesus. Because that's not why, Jeremy. Good try, though. That's offensive, Chugs. But this is a ridiculous, outlandish, and frankly stupid take. I'm sorry. It does not make any sense in any capacity from a football perspective. I am begging you to please stop doing this. I saw it in multiple replies in the comments on YouTube and in my Twitter mentions, and it just doesn't make any sense. It's perfectly fine to want more from Dak Prescott. Dak did not have his best game. All of his numbers this year, though, the rushing ability, the accuracy, the passing yards, the yards per attempt, the touchdowns, it's all better than Cooper Rush. And especially if we don't blame Dak for the CeeDee Lamb INT when Lamb run the damn dig route, my guy. Dak is a vastly better quarterback than Cooper Rush. There's no debate from that. It's fair to want more out of Dak. Again, that game kind of reminded me of last year's playoff game where if the quarterback plays better, you probably win. Also get a stop in the fourth quarter on defense and you also win. I understand why we do it. It's the quarterback for the Cowboys, and in general, everyone wants to blame the quarterback no matter the outcome, win or loss, or give credit to the quarterback, which isn't fair. It's a team sport unless you're Justin Herbert, and then you get blamed for nothing. That's kind of weird to me. You can't always blame the quarterback. You couldn't stop a nosebleed on the run. You had a 14-point fourth-quarter lead. Your defense should, as they have done in their entire history, never give that lead up. And they did against the Packers. Need more from Dak, make no mistake, but come on, guys. Let's not be stupid out there. Now, if you hate the Eagles and producer Chugs, then subscribe for good Cowboys content every single day. Free videos right here on the Cowboys Report. It's youtube.com/@CowboysTV. And we will keep you guys updated with the latest on Odell Beckham. And that's where we go next. Overreaction number 4. A loss means the Cowboys won't get Odell Beckham. This is an overreaction, although it is a negative in the end in terms of trying to acquire Odell Beckham at this point. Odell wants to play for a contender, but one loss will not eliminate the Dallas Cowboys from contention. One loss does not end your season altogether when it is November. Now, if you lose the next couple games, as we'll get into more in depth here, then yeah, maybe you've got a problem from that standpoint. Odell wants to play for a contender. The Cowboys are still among the better contenders, especially in the NFC, in terms of teams that are in the mix for Odell at the point. This might have saved Green Bay's chances of getting him, but that still seems like a stretch at this point. The 5 teams that have been linked to Odell, right? The Cowboys at 6-3, the Giants at 7-2, the Bills lost again, they're 6-3. That's Josh Allen, by the way. He's great, but not a very good game. A couple in a row for him. Niners 5-4, Chiefs 7-2. You're a game back of the other contenders. You're still in the mix for Odell, make no mistake about it. Now, what you have to do is win some football games coming up here. Probably after Week 12. Latest report is that OBJ will make a call after Thanksgiving. Who says no? Winner of Week 12's matchup, Cowboys-Giants, Thanksgiving Day. Winner gets Odell Beckham. I think it's pretty fair, right? Now, we'll make that, the Cowboys and Odell will make that call next 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks there. I'd like to get him because he needs him up there. More on that side, the need in a second here. But be honest with me. What is the % chance Odell Beckham signs with the Dallas Cowboys? Let me know in the comments what the % chance, honest answers here. you think Odell heads to Dallas. As we all panicked when Gallup got hurt and then came back in the football game, they are thin at wide receiver. CeeDee Lamb needs to be a complete game still, but he is a very good receiver. Noah Brown has cooled down after a couple nice games earlier this year. Michael Gallup is back, but he's not back. He has not produced all that well. The Cowboys, for whatever reason, and I think it's mostly a game planning thing, are not taking vertical shots on the outside. God forbid CeeDee Lamb gets hurt, knock on wood. You go from being, we could probably survive at receiver to, oh no, we're screwed. You need Odell Beckham. You can argue you want a corner and edge help to help stop the run as well. That's fine. You need a receiver too. And Odell's an actual upgrade who's available at this point. Overreaction number 4, run defense is a problem. I would argue that was their worst run effort in terms of run defense all season long. That's worrisome because teams, as I've been trying to say for, frankly, months now, teams have figured out how to run the football on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the defense as a whole really killed the Cowboys this week. They allowed way too many explosive plays. Rodgers threw some dimes. Christian Watson went from having zero production to all of it in one game. They played Micah at off-ball linebacker trying to stop the run. Didn't work out great. But teams have figured out that if you run outside and mostly left, you're going to have success on this team. It is not the defensive tackles that are causing the issues. It's that you are not setting the edge at the run, and you're leaving your gaps. Let's look here at the last 4 big running back ground games, right? Aaron Jones. Now, I'll make note. You'll notice they all start on the hashes. And people are like, they're bouncing it out wide. And I got to tell people, guys, the ball lines up on the hashes, so that's where the handoff happens. Like, that's how football works. So, yeah, it starts in the middle. Look at all those outside runs for Aaron Jones, and a lot of green and yellow, right? Khalil Herbert. I mean, look at Herbert's stat. It's just wide left, wide left, wide left. They ran it a ton, right? Jamal Williams, a little bit more in the middle, but the 2 big plays were outside runs, right? That's how teams have success. And I've said this since week 1 because the Bucs knew that. Look at that game plan. Leonard Fournette, wide left on almost every play. They ran it left. Teams have figured out if you run away from DeMarcus Lawrence towards Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler, etc., the Cowboys do not do a good job of setting the edge. Now, Micah made some very pointed comments and basically accused other players of not staying in their lanes and being gap sound, and he's right. They're not playing gap sound football. That is a problem in run defense, and I get they want to get the sacks. They've got to figure it out. Because, again, let's go back to that schedule, right? Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Dameon Pierce. Those teams, their number 1 offensive game plan outside of maybe Minnesota, they got Justin Jefferson, is going to be, we're going to run the football. Philadelphia, Tennessee, they're going to run the football too. Jacksonville kind of will with Etienne, who's a great outside zone runner. Like, you got to figure out that run defense. If you can get teams to throw the football, you're an elite pass defense. But if you don't figure that shit out, you got to get going on that side of the ball, or it's going to be a huge problem. So predict the Cowboys' record in 2022. Can they get to 11-10, maybe still 12 wins? Sound off for me in the comments. Next up, concern over other corners, i.e. not Trayvon Diggs. Yeah, this is true, especially in light of Anthony Brown having a concussion. We will see if Brown is able to go against Minnesota, but even if he's healthy, he's regressed this year. Anthony Brown has not been the version we saw last year, who was much better than what he's been so far this year. 415 yards on 328 snaps, 4 touchdowns allowed already, 0 INTs. 30 is a better player than 3, as weird as that is. The next man up is Kelvin Joseph, who, small sample size this year, hasn't been great. Targeted 6 times, 4 catches, 64 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 penalty. It's actually been a pretty good run stopper and special teamer, but, you know, it's a corner. Second-round pick, you pay him to be a coverage guy. If Anthony Brown misses time, it means Deron Bland, who was also not great, by the way, against the Green Bay Packers, stays in the nickel. Kelvin Joseph, the number 2 guy on the outside, and Deshaun Wright becomes your backup corner. If you have not already, feel free to slide into my DMs on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. Any Cowboys thoughts you have, feel free to send my way. I will not be paying for verification because that's ridiculous, but my DMs are open for you. So hit me up at WhatGoingDowney.